Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you guys. Let me see if I can get a little more light in this room. Hold on one second. All right. I don't know if that helped much, but trying to get some more light into the room. Come on in. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're from, and we will get started. We will get started. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, guys. Come on in. I can't wait to talk to y'all about funding. Come on in. Hey, Miss Foster, how are you? So glad to have you. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where are you tuning in from. I see you're coming in through LinkedIn. So are you here local to Houston? What city are you in? And let me know a little bit about your business. I want to know about your business so I can know how to tailor the conversation. And we'll get started in just a second. Let me just make sure I have um, my presentation up. So let me go to that 1 second. Such a beautiful day today. Even better day, but it'll be learning about funding. Okay. Back to the beginning. Let me see my projects and then let's see, where is it? Okay, here we go. And I'm about to set it up for you guys. So, and I generally like to be an hour, right? I usually don't like to go over an hour. So I want to be very mindful of your time. It's Thursday. Doing well in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, I just left Atlanta. I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and I will be returning to Atlanta once I finish my conference here in Houston, Texas. So my conference is going to be June 16th and 17th. Hey, Jarisha, Miss Lightfoot, so good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a while, other than on social media. So but you know what, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I want to be mindful of your time. I want to make sure that you get to ask any questions and get as much value out of this as possible. And if you're thinking of something while I'm, in the middle of the presentation, by all means, just jump into the comment section, put your comments, your questions, any inquiries that you have, any concerns, definitely put that into the chat. And I want to make sure that I address those for you. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. I was just like, it's so funny because you know how like you think you have been in contact with people and it's just like, oh, but we've just been seeing each other online. And so and so I always see people via, online, but I'm always moving around the country. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm about to share my screen with you guys. And I am going to get started. Let's see. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is the one that I need. All right, guys, can y'all see that? Let me make sure it's not too big so it doesn't jump off my screen. All right, guys. So, welcome to the funding webinar, right? I'm going to be talking about how I was able to secure $29,000 for my business in 1 month using the gift of gab, right? And this was last year in October. So, last year, October was a great month for me because I was able to secure $29,000 in business funding. And it was only 2 transactions. So, it wasn't like $1,000 here, $2,000 there, $4,000 here. It was literally, I got a $4,000 investment for my conference from JP Morgan Chase. And then I got a $25,000 angel investment to start the business, right? And this was another business that I was starting. You know, guys, I have my Seneca Dunmore Incorporated business, which is my coaching and speaking, international speaking. And then I have my Dunmore Capital Ventures, which I started with that $25,000 angel investment, where I help, small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups with, I equip them with the financial education, the capacity building tools, and the funding resources they need to grow and scale their business. What we're going to be talking about today is some of the three of the mistakes that you're making in your business that's keeping you from the money you need to grow and scale the business. And let me preface with this. It's not necessarily your fault, right? Most of us, you weren't taught these things. So you just don't know, right? You're just doing what you're taught. You're just doing what you know to do. And so I'm going to show you how to transform some of those things so that it works in your favor. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. All right. So for next thing, right? I want you guys to know, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you the same pitch deck, the exact same pitch deck that I used to secure the $29,000. And this is what it looks like. Okay. At the time, I think it was only 9 slides. I added a couple more things to you so it would be more robust for you. But I literally, used this pitch deck with JP Morgan Chase and with the angel investor to secure the $29,000. All right. So most of you guys know me, right? They call me the pint-sized powerhouse. My name is Seneca Dunmore, born and raised in Houston, Texas. I'm an international speaker. I'm an angel investor myself. I'm a speaker coach, right? I teach, new and aspiring speakers how to maximize and monetize your speaking business. I also teach high impact professionals how to leverage professional speaking as a primary tool to secure funding for their business. Because again, if you don't know how to articulate your business, if you don't know how to pitch to potential investors, then you're going to have a hard time securing funding. And so that's why communication and articulation is so important in this business. I'm a global philanthropist. Most of you guys know me through my mission work in Africa, right? I've been to many African countries, and I'll show you some of that later on in the slide. And again, I've been featured on some, international stations, news stations, radio stations, all of those different things. But my favorite title is servant, right? I am a kingdom financier. And so people are like, what is that? A kingdom financier is basically, someone God has commissioned, right, to funnel financial resources through. So God has given me the gift of gab. God has given me the gift of negotiation, communication, articulation, and I'm able to get in with these big organizations, with these funders, and make the point on why they need to now do business with some of the people who are in my network. So I praise God for that gift. It has worked in my favor so many times. And so that's what I am, right? So my greatest title is servant. That is what I am. All right. So again, of the 29,000, I got JP Morgan, the number 1 bank in the United States, to fund my conference. And let me be very clear with you guys. This was my very first conference. Now, I've spoken on many stages, right? From New York to South Africa. I've been on everybody else's stage, but I had never built a conference on my own. So my very first conference, I had the number 1 bank in the United States to support it. That was a huge win for me. Not only that, but instead of working through my Seneca Dunmore Incorporated business, which is speaking and coaching, I started a whole new business called Dunmore Capital Ventures through another investment that I received. And guess where I met this investor? I met him via LinkedIn. Can you guys believe that? I met this investor via LinkedIn. And he was the one who gave me the investment to start my Dunmore Capital Ventures, which is to help, connect founders with funding. Okay, let's keep it going. Now, just a little bit about my background, right? I grew up on the southeast side of Houston, Texas, called Sunnyside. Sunnyside was considered the 6th most dangerous neighborhood in America at one point. Okay, crime was par for the course. It was, for all intents and purposes, it was a bad neighborhood. There was a lot of drugs in our community, a lot of violence in our community. But it wasn't until I left for college, right, got out of Sunnyside, that I realized Sunnyside was not a bad neighborhood. Sunnyside was an economically disenfranchised community. Okay. So what I was seeing was the result of people in survival mode, right? The crime, the violence, right? It was just people trying to survive because they did not have the financial resources that they need to provide a better living for themselves. Okay. And I don't need to go through the history of this country and, why things are the way they are, but that's how Sunnyside was. Right. And so I appreciate what Sunnyside gave me because, growing up in a two-parent household, I was able to see more, do more outside of Sunnyside. My parents really exposed me to a different world. And so that's why I had this hunger that I do now to help other people to get out of those situations. I want people to thrive, not just simply survive. Okay. And again, let me tell you guys this, and you'll hear this a lot throughout the what we have going on here. Relationships are the keys to advocacy, and advocacy is the key to access. Do you guys know what advocacy is? Advocacy is someone advocating for you, right? Advocating is when you're going in for that bank loan, you're talking to your business banking manager, somebody who you've already cultivated a relationship with. Now they go before the underwriters, and they make the case on why you should receive that funding, right? They're like, oh, she's always in here. She's been with this organization. She's been doing business with us for about 10 years. She has multiple accounts, right? She has a great business that she's always keeping me abreast of what's going on in her business, right? You want to do that because these individuals now become your advocates. Advocacy is how you get access to the financial resources that you need. Anybody have any questions thus far? Just drop them in the chat and I'll make sure, I promise you, I'll get to them. Okay. So advocacy is what you want. And just so I was talking about Africa, right? So let me tell you guys this. I've been to Africa 9 times. And out of all those trips, I only paid for one of them myself. Only one. I had all 8 of those other trips funded. And let me tell you what I was doing while I was there, right? Awesome stuff. I taught at the University of Ghana at their Institute of African Studies. I was doing some research out there for my doctoral program. And you see that red arrow there, right? That's me sitting here in the corner. This was the dean right here, right? I took a 15-hour flight, flew all the way to Ghana just to do some research. And I went out there on a maybe, right? If you come, we'll provide, the resources that you need. And I just went because I'm always willing to bet on myself. Okay, the next thing, I did a medical mission in Luanda, Angola. And let me tell you, an incredible country. It's one of the richest countries in Africa that I've been to because they have a lot of concrete, they have a lot of oil and gas. And those babies just were gorgeous. I've taught in South Africa. So most of you guys know, right? My bachelor's is in biology. My master's is in information technology. So I went out there with a group of 6 women. There were 7 of us, right? And we taught in South Africa in 2016. Not only that, but I've done 3 medical missions to Kenya. 3 medical missions, right? Where we provided free healthcare services to different tribes there. And guess what? All of that was funded, you guys. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you don't have to spend all of your resources, all of your money on the things that you want to do on your business, right? You want to leverage the resources of other people. And most people, givers, don't mind giving, right? If you have a network of givers, people who just love to give, they don't mind giving to whatever your mission, your business, especially if it's something that they believe in. People want to support things that they also believe in. And so that's what you want to communicate, right? You want to communicate why they should support and why they believe what you believe. Okay, so let's keep it going. Guys, you are your greatest investment. Okay. You are your greatest investment, meaning you need to be investing in programs. You need to be investing in, lifelong learning opportunities in your education, in your personal and business development. Okay. Because me investing in me has taken me to over 45 countries. And so I just put this together, and that's not even all the countries that I've been to. That's only a handful of the countries I've been to. But investing in me has been the best thing for me and my business. Okay. So again, let me tell you mistake number one. Y'all ready? Write it down, right? This is mistake number one. Investors want to see proof, not potential. Investors want to see proof, not potential. What do I mean by that? They want to see a minimum viable product. They want to see what you have going on. Now, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying that you have to have this 40-page business plan and all of these things, but is your business actually incorporated, right? Is it an actual business, right? Do you have a business bank account? Are you making sales, right? Are you getting traction? They want to see proof of that. And so, of course, that's why I'm so adamant about like personal testimonials, right? I always get testimonials from my clients. So this is a young lady, Becky Proctor Williams, who she and I have known each other since the third grade. She approached me one evening about wanting to become a confident, more compelling communicator. She joined one of my coaching programs. Literally less than 8 weeks into the program, she secured her first six-figure contract. So again, I'm giving you guys proof of what I've done. I would have heard, right? These are my actual clients. This is not stock footage. Okay, these are my actual clients. Another young lady, Joy Jackson, who was let go from her corporate job when she started my coaching program and has already replaced her corporate salary. Now, guys, she only started her business back in 2020. She's been on a TED Talk. She's written a book, right? She's doing domestic and international engagements. Sister is doing her thing. Okay. Another young lady. This is another young lady I met at I actually met her, Janae, at the very first speaking opportunity I had as a professional speaker back in 2015. Right? It was like way back when I had just started my business. And so she again approached me about wanting to become a more compelling speaker. And this is someone who's already spoken on multiple domestic and international stages. And after we helped to construct her signature talk, I mean, her business has skyrocketed. So you see what I'm doing, guys? I'm giving you guys receipts of the things that I've actually done. And that's what your investors, funders, they want to see that. They want to see social proof. They want to see proof that you've done it, not just that you have the potential to do it. Any questions? I'll pause for a second for any questions. Drop your questions in the chat. I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you may have. Okay. So, and again, I want to be mindful of our time. So we're already at 19 minutes, right? And I want to make sure that we stay under an hour. All right. Next thing. You need more than people with influence. You need advocates who have affluence. You guys know what affluence is, right? These are people with money. So yeah, it's nice to have people with influence because most of the time people with influence can also get the affluence, right? The money, but you want to make sure that you have more than people just with influence. You want people who can actually cut a check. The reason why I've been so successful with going after funding for myself and my clients is because I seek out the people who sign off on the checks. The people who sign the front of the check, not the back. Two totally different conversations. That's why I'm a huge advocate of LinkedIn. Okay. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about LinkedIn as we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and have the conversation about LinkedIn. This is a gentleman that I met via LinkedIn, Pad. He is an artificial intelligence patent attorney. Literally chased this dude down for months just to get a meeting with him. And that was one of the best things I've ever done. Okay. He is a brilliant human being. I just absolutely adore him in the work that he's doing in the community in the AI space for his clients, right? And he manages unicorn clients. These are clients valued at over $1 billion, guys. And again, met him through LinkedIn. Now, here's another gentleman, manages a $4.6 billion portfolio with a global endowment firm. Met him again through LinkedIn. And so I always tell people, like LinkedIn, that's where people pay top dollar. Those are your premium clients. So again, if you're not networking, if you're not, setting up meetings and things like that with your network on LinkedIn, you're not using it correctly. I know when LinkedIn first started, everybody thought it was, it was for getting a job and things like that. I mean, you can still use it for that, but LinkedIn has transformed into so much more. This is where you can find all of the investors, the directors, the C-level executives, right? The people who sign the front of the check. Those are the people you need to be engaging. Okay. Also, the next thing, you need to volunteer where the people with the money are. Okay, let me see. So, good question. What if your proof is from your job? It's still proof. Yes, ma'am, it's still proof. Before I became an international speaker, I was working for a global human resources firm, negotiating multi-million dollar contracts in oil and gas, right? Most of my book of business was oil and gas clients. And so I had been on, maybe I wasn't on stage, but I was basically in front of C-level executives every day, all day, helping them negotiate contracts, giving presentations. And so when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I already have social proof of me speaking professionally. It just wasn't for my business, it was for somebody else's business. But guess what? Those skills are transferable. So I just transferred those same skills that I use in corporate. Now I use those same skills in my own business. So great question, because yes, you can still use that as social proof. Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. Great question. Great question. So again, you want to volunteer where the people with the money are. Conferences, trade shows, sporting events. There's an event that goes on in Houston. I want to say it's like maybe March or May every year. The CT, what's it, CTO? The OTC. Oh, the OTC conference, Offshore Technology Conference. I don't know if you guys have ever been. One of the best conferences in Houston. Okay. When I tell you some of the richest oil and gas tycoons, some of the richest innovators in technology and things like that, they're at that conference. I literally, when I was in corporate, I would make my company pay for me to go to that conference every year, because that's where my ideal clients were anyway. So it worked in their favor as much as it worked in my own. So again, you want to start volunteering where these people are. Because you know what volunteering does? Number one, if you don't have the money, right? If you don't have the resources, because some of these conferences can get really pricey. Some of them can be $5, 10, $15,000. And so maybe you don't have the money to do that. But what you can do is volunteer. And let me tell you what you do. You volunteer in the morning. This is what I would do. I would volunteer in the morning, because what happens in the evening? All of the social events. People are now wanting to go to the bar, go to the lounges. That's when the galas would happen, right? I would volunteer in the morning because they would give you different shifts: morning shift, afternoon shift, evening shift. I'd volunteer in the morning because I knew in the evening, because I had a badge, right? Because I was part of, the volunteer staff, I could get into the other functions for free. Win win. Okay. And I'm going to show you some of the people that I met volunteering. So here is, right, CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, Cent Marshall. Incredible woman, right? And I met her boss. Who is her boss? Right? The owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He's on Shark Tank. Okay. Not only her, I met the senior advisor to US President Barack Obama when he was in office, right? Valerie Jarrett. And this was at the Women of Power Summit hosted by Black Enterprise in Vegas. This was 2018. Okay. Also, how many of you know Farrah Gray? He's a millionaire, best-selling author. He's an investor, speaker, all of that. You know what? Thank you, God. I literally just had an epiphany. I need to reach out to him. So again, you see some of these people that I met, and y'all, this is just only a handful. I could go down a whole list of millionaires and billionaires that I've been able to meet simply by volunteering at some of these conferences and trade shows. So now I have these people in my immediate network. And let me tell you this, the quickest pathway to financial capital is social capital. How many of you can tell me what social capital is? Okay, OTC, we will be at the next one. We have an NDT inspection company and we need to be there. Yes. Let me tell you, I tell anybody, OTC is probably one of the largest conferences that they have here in Houston, Texas. They have it annually, right? At NRG. It's like there's no better place to be. And when I tell you the resources, the people, the connections in that room, unmatched. You got to be in that room, especially for what you're doing. You definitely want to be in that room because their pockets are so deep and their networks are so deep. Oh, you could leverage that and monetize that and capitalize on that in so many ways. So yes, I would definitely recommend you do that. And again, theirs is not one of the most expensive conferences. I've been to way more expensive conferences than OTC. Okay, so let's keep it rolling. So again, guys, the quickest pathway to financial capital is social capital. Social capital is cultivating relationships, personal, right? Business relationships with the individuals, getting to know them, right? Understanding their business, what makes them tick, right? You want to start cultivating relationships with the people who have access to the resources you need. So, give you a prime example. How many of you know your personal business banker? How many of you are in business for yourself, right? You have a business, an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, right? A nonprofit organization, and you meet with your personal business banker. How many of you know who your personal business banker is? And you meet with them on a regular basis. Put yes in the chat if you do, no in the chat if you don't. How many of you are doing that? Excuse me. Let me tell you guys something. If you have a business, you need to know who your personal business banker is, and you need to be meeting with them at least once a quarter. You need to be going over your books with them, right? Your accounting. I would even recommend if you have a CPA or an accountant, right? A bookkeeper that you use, bring them with you. So you guys can sit down, look over the books. You can talk about what your greatest pain points are. You can talk about maybe financing or money that you may need, right? You can project what you may need for the next year. You need to be talking about all that with your business banking manager. Because guess what? When funding comes across their desk, they're thinking about you. You're top of mind, right? So you want to make sure that you're going over those things with your personal business banking manager. So when that money comes across their desk, they're thinking about you. They're like, oh, Miss Lightfoot, yeah, she just started this company. And oh, yeah, she's doing great business. And well, let's see about giving her a loan. Let's see about giving her a grant. Again, remember, guys, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Here is why a lot of people get so frustrated when it comes to grants and getting loans and things like that. I'll give you a prime example. I just had someone approach me recently and they were saying that they were denied for like a business loan. And I said, well, were you talking to your business banking manager? And they said, no, I just, went into the branch and talked to somebody. And I said, no, that's not the best way to do it. I said, when it came time for you to apply for that loan, you should have been talking to your business banking manager, someone who you've already cultivated a relationship with, because now they can advocate with you, for you when they sit down with the underwriters. Otherwise, you're just another number in a stack of applications. You don't want to be just another number in a stack of applications. You want them to be sifting through those applications and say, oh, you know what? I know her. I know him. Let me pull that application and put it on top and give them first priority, right? Give them preferential treatment. Listen, guys, this is how the world is run, right? This is how it's done. Again, people want to do business with the people they know, like, and trust. And if they have good rapport with you, great relationship with you, they want to help you. They want to make sure you get those resources that you need. Okay? So just had to break that down. And let me tell you, let me just give you some quick examples about, cultivating that social capital. US Bank was at my conference in March, right? In Charlotte, North Carolina. US Bank has a access fund for 30 million. And guess what? They're looking for 30,000 women of color micro businesses to give that money to. It looks to me like I got some women in here who are Black business owners, who are women of color. There's no reason why you shouldn't be applying for that funding. And guess what? I know some of the VPs and the managers personally, right? One of them came and spoke at my conference in March. Okay, next one. I told y'all JP Morgan Chase was the first to sponsor my event. The first to sponsor my event. They have a $2 billion fund that they're looking to deploy to Black, Latina, and women-owned businesses over the next 5 years. I think this fund started in 2021, which means they've got about 2 more years for that money to be dispersed. That means you need to be going to them. If you're a Black, you're Latina, you're women-owned businesses, you need to be going to JP Morgan and asking them, how do I qualify for this funding? Again, that's how I got my conference funded, because I asked them about that. I said, well, I would like you guys to partner with me. Okay. And that's just two. The next one, PNC has become a great client of mine. They have an $88 billion community development initiative. $47 billion of that money is allocated for home lending. 26.5 billion, y'all, is for small businesses. 14.5 is for community development financing. So if you're in real estate, right? If you're a small business, ain't no way you should not be asking PNC about those dollars. Right? If you're in real estate, you're a small business, you need to be asking PNC, hey, I know you guys have $88 billion in that Community Development Initiative Fund. How do I qualify for those funds? What do I need to do to access that money? Okay. A lot of times, the reason why we're not getting the funding is not because we're not qualified for it, is because we're not asking for it. You know how many banks that I talk to, right? These are my clients who say, well, Seneca, we've got money to give, but they won't come in and apply because they don't think they'll get it. Or, they get denied one time and then they won't come back again. One of my clients with PNC Bank, she just approved a lady for $50,000. And guess what? She was denied last year, but she stayed around, right? She asked questions. She found out what she needed to tweak in her business to get the results that they were looking for. And guess what? She came back again and applied the next year and qualified for 50 grand. Now, again, those are the type of people that these banks want to work with, because they're like, wow, she has drive, she has determination, she has grit, she didn't give up on the first try, she came back, which means she's loyal. That's the type of things that they're looking for. So just as much as you're looking for the right fit, they're looking for the right fit as well. Any questions? Any questions? You guys got to remember, business is a team sport. You should be in business for yourself, but you should never be in business by yourself. Okay? And just because you're in business doesn't mean you need to be using all of your resources to run your business. Do you know that there's investors out there who are looking for investment opportunities? There are banks out there who are looking for, individuals to lend their money to. Banks don't save money, right? We put our money in the bank to save it. Banks don't save money. They take your money and they lend it out. And they might collect 12% interest and give you 0.5%. So they're making money hand over fist. So they have money to give. And the reason why you're not getting it is probably because you're not going in and asking for it and applying for it. It's not as hard as you think, guys. It really is not. Okay. So let me ask you guys a question. How many of you are struggling to access the capital you need in your business? Maybe you've been denied for a loan. Maybe you just don't know where the funding is. Maybe you don't even know how the process starts. Like, you're like, Seneca, I have no idea how to even get started asking for money for my business. I don't know what type of funding I qualify for, what type of money I need to be asking for, right? Let me know in the chat where you stand. Let me know in the chat where you stand. Ugh. Anybody? Anybody? Where do you stand in this whole process? Still waiting. Well, while you guys are figuring it out, I'm gonna go ahead and move on, right? So again, I'm assuming because you're in this webinar that you're probably having a hard time accessing the capital you need. So I want to tell you about my next Access Granted conference, which will be my third, right? This year's theme is going to be less dialogue, more dollars, right? We don't need a ton more coaching. We don't need a ton of mentorship, right? If that coaching and mentorship is not being partnered with dollars, then it's pretty useless, right? We need to make sure that we are getting access to that funding. So I created the Access Granted Conference, right? And I created it during the pandemic out of necessity because I saw so many people of color, businesses of color, struggling to access capital for their business because number one, they didn't know where the business funding was. They didn't know what funding they qualified for, what options were available to them. They weren't capital ready, meaning they don't have the infrastructure in place, right? So they don't even have the capacity for funding if funding is made available to them. And then the last thing is they're simply not in communities or networks where funding is being available, is giving out. Okay. And I see, yes, Miss Lightfoot said they have been on a roller coaster. And trust me, you're not the only ones, right? I know so many businesses of color, right? You've been on a roller coaster because you're like, I don't know how this works. I'm tired. I'm just, can somebody just give me some funding already? I get it. So again, that's why I created the Access Granted Conference. Access Granted is designed to equip small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, and historically marginalized and economically disenfranchised communities, right? Like the communities I grew up in. We equip you with the financial education, the capacity building tools, and the funding resources that you need to grow and scale your business. One of the ways that we do that is by putting you in front of the actual funders. So I always tell people, when they're saying, well, Seneca, what makes your conference so unique? It's unique because I'm putting you in the room with the actual funders. So these are not the secretaries. These are not the representatives. These are the individuals who sign the front of the checks, not the back of the checks, right? So let me tell you what you get if you come to this next conference. So it's June 16th and 17th at the Marriott Marquis in downtown Houston, right? So you're going to get a welcome package from me and sponsors, which is valued at $45. You get an exquisite 3-course dining experience. And I don't know if you've eaten at the Marriott Marquis before, but it is fabulous, right? That's valued at $100. We're going to have a cocktails in the courtyard. So we're going to have a business networking experience. So now you can network with other like-minded business professionals. You can network with the funders, right? And so you can ask more questions. You can get their personal contact information so you guys can follow up at a later date, maybe link up for lunch or dinner. That's valued at $158. You're going to get 30-day access to my monetized LinkedIn e-course, guys. My monetized LinkedIn e-course is a game changer because, again, I make money through my LinkedIn. My top clients I've secured through LinkedIn. My top investors I've secured through LinkedIn. Okay? And then you're going to get all access to the keynote and breakout sessions the day of the conference, which is valued at $1,497, right? The total value, guys, is $1,997. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, who's Seneca? Child, I don't have that kind of money right now. I get it. Trust me. Don't you worry. I've got something for you. Okay. So remember, guys, and remember, I said if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a copy of the same pitch deck that I use for those investors that I got the $29,000 in funding for. So remember, again, guys, the reason why this value is so high is because I'm putting you in the room with the people who signed the front of the checks, not the back of the check. So we're not talking to secretaries and executive assistants. We're talking to the people who can make a decision about giving you the funding. Right? And here, let me tell you, you're going to be in a room with these individuals. Abraham J. Williamson, a venture capitalist. He's a tech startup attorney as well. Christopher Senegal has over $100 million in real estate investing projects going on right now in the Houston community. Dr. Shantae, a venture capitalist, right? She also runs a global investment firm. She has offices here in the US and in Africa. And she just secured another deal today, I saw on LinkedIn. And then you also have Pedro Moore. Pedro is the venture capital advisor for Damon John on Shark Tank. That's Damon John's advisor. You have here at the bottom, Marley, who's also a lawyer. So Marley deals with business structuring. Remember when I was talking about how structuring your business is so important? And how you structure that business helps you to maximize profits, minimize taxes and liabilities, protect your assets, and build wealth, right? Those are his four core principles. Then we have here Williams Brack, who was the vice president of Regions Bank, right? So he knows exactly what you need in order to qualify for banks. And guys, remember, and we're going to be talking about different types of funding: angel investments, venture capital investments, bank loans, grants, right? Non-traditional funding like crowdfunding. So this gentleman up here, Christopher Senegal, who I was telling y'all about, he raised over $1 million in crowdfunding to support one of his real estate projects. And guess what? Those individuals who invested in that project are receiving dividends from that project now. How cool is that? We also have Polly, who is a financial advisor, financial wealth manager, all of that. And then on the very end is Adonis Lockett. He's a real estate investor, and he also manages a hedge fund. Y'all, again, these are the people who you need to be in the room with. Okay. And let me see. Somebody had a question. Let me pause. Let's see. We had a so-called broker, and he would always come back with these so-called investors, and most have been scams or someone didn't want to meet our terms. Oh, I hate you dealt with that. And I hear a lot of that. That's why cultivating those relationships are so important, right? Because again, you want to have social proof that these people are legit. And again, I've done, these are individuals that I've vetted. I have personal relationships with them, right? They've been on my stages before. Most of them, probably about 80% of them, have already done business with me and been on my stages. So I know they legit. And Miss Lightfoot, I hate that you're going through that and that you've been with that, you've gone through that, because that happens often. It happens often. Okay. So again, you're going to have access to all the keynote and breakout sessions with the actual funders. You're going to get a 3-course dining experience, right? So you're going to have salad, an entree, and dessert. We're going to have a cocktails in the courtyard that's going to be sponsored by a young lady out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who runs her own vodka company. She came to my conference this last March and has already received an investment, and she's now in every major liquor store. Now you see the power of proximity, the power of getting in the right rooms. Okay. And again, I told y'all, I'm going to give y'all my monetized LinkedIn e-course to show y'all how I secure these major clients, how I'm able to close these major deals. This is a young lady who came to one of my conferences last year. She came last year and this year and secured a $10,000 grant. And to date, she's already secured $76,000 in grant funding and awards. Okay. This young lady is the one who I was telling you about, who just secured a $5,000 pitch competition, but she's now, her vodka company is in every major retailer. And not only that, guys, but I was hired in 2020 to build out a digital literacy program for a community nonprofit. And so I work with this amazing grant writer here in Houston, Texas, and together we were able to secure $5.4 million in grant funding for that one program. So over a span of 2 years, we were able to get them $5.4 million in grant funding. So again, guys, I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I've done. I'm telling you the type of money that I've secured for my own business, and I'm telling you the money that I've secured for my clients' businesses. Okay? Stop me if you have any questions. Now, guys, let me ask you a question. If all this did, right? If you came to the conference and all it did was give you direct access to a network of wealthy individuals who can show you where the funding is, how to access it, and possibly make a financial investment in your business, would it be worth the $1,997? If that's all it did, right? If it gave you direct access to a network of funders, investors, wealthy individuals who have multi-millions, right? Who can show you where the funding is, who can expedite you getting the funding, right? Because they know the whole process. And they might like your business enough to say, you know what, I might want to make a financial investment in your business. Would it be worth the $1,997? Let me know in the comments. Let me know yes or no. Let me know if it would be worth it for you. Right? If you're having a hard time figuring out funding on your own and all you had to do was spend $1,997 to get in front of the right people, would it be worth it? Someone who could turn your business around, save you more time, more money. Now you have time with your friends, your family, more time for vacation, and help you do your business to grow exponentially. Would it be worth it? Waiting for your comments. Let me know yes or no in the box. Let me know yes or no if it would be worth it. Let me know yes or no if it would be worth it. Okay. And so, guys, remember, I said that 1997, right? The welcome package from me and sponsors at $45, an exquisite three-course dining experience at $100 value, cocktails in the courtyard, a business networking experience where you can mix and mingle with other investors and like-minded business professionals, $158, 30-day access to my monetized LinkedIn course where I'm going to show you how to go after the decision makers, to go after the individuals who signed the front of the check, $197, and all access to keynote and breakout sessions. All of this is totaled at a $1,997 value. Today it's only $497. Thank you, Miss Lightfoot. She said absolutely. So guess what? I'm not asking you for the 1997. Okay, that's almost $2,000. I'm making this conference available to you for only $497. And let me tell you, that's not even the best part, guys. That's not even the best part. I partner with PayPal. I've been a loyal customer of PayPal for years. I partnered with them and I said, well, PayPal, would it be possible for me to offer a buy now, pay later option for my clients? And guess what? I was approved. So now you can, even if you don't have the money right now, you can buy now and pay later. PayPal will give you the money up front, and then you can pay PayPal over a period of time. And there's two easy options. The first option is you can pay in 4. Okay. So 1 payment down and then 3 more to go, right? You split the purchases up into 4 interest-free bi-weekly payments, which means you will be doing $124.25 every 2 weeks until it's paid off. So guess what? It'll be paid off in 2 months. You can pay it off in 2 months. Or if you need more time, right? And that's okay. You might need more time. You can pay it monthly. You can do 6, 12, or 24-month payments. Zero down, guys, and no sign up or late fees. When I tell you this is a no-brainer, a no-brainer. So not only can you get in the room with the investors, right? But you can choose the type of option that you want in terms of paying that money back. Now, again, you might be able to pay it all up front. Most of the people who've already bought tickets, right, and we're running out of tickets, most of them have just, paid in full. But I understand that not everybody's in a position to do that. That's why I wanted to partner with PayPal and offer a buy now, pay later plan. So you have 2 easy options. And let me tell you this, let's go ahead and end on this note. If you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. But if you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes. What do I mean by that? I have lots of people who, they're interested in funding and they want to know more about it. But when it comes time to make an investment in their business, to learn what's behind, the real doors, they're not ready to do that. But the people who are game changers, they're ready to move their business forward. They're ready to take it to the next level. They're tired of being broke. They're tired of paying, robbing Peter to pay Paul. They're willing to go ahead and make that investment. Guys, let me tell you this. Let me tell you how I became an international speaker so quickly. I started I left corporate America in October 2014. I started my motivational speaking business in May of 2015. And by July of 2016, I was doing international speaking engagements. I had my very first international engagement in Darling, South Africa. Let me tell you how I made it happen so quickly. I invested in a speakers conference that was out of Delaware. A young lady who I had met, I had found out about her through LinkedIn, through a referral. The conference was $4,000, guys. $4,000. And that didn't include flight, hotel, food. It didn't include any of that. It was just for the conference itself. And there were 20 of us in that room who all paid $4,000. I had to buy my own airfare. I had to buy my own hotel, and I was responsible for my own food. But guess what? That was one of the best investments I've ever made, because in less than a year, I went from domestic to international speaker. And y'all saw, right, my chart of different flags. 45 countries later, here I am, doing what I absolutely love. And so I know the value in investing in my dreams, investing in what I want out of life, because the returns have been greater than the investment. Okay, so I'll go ahead and open it up for questions again. And you know what? Let me just show you this video if you guys have time. Here we go.
Hey, my name is Kimberly Evans. I am the founder and CEO of Just a Rideshare, a rideshare community of women drivers and riders, providing a safe alternative rideshare experience based right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Listen, I wanted to tell you guys about an event that I attended last year called Access Granted. And guess what? It's about to happen again in March, and I am so excited. Listen, this pint-sized powerhouse, Seneca Dunmore, has put on an amazing event in past, and she is doing it again. So last year, and I have my notes even from last year, she everything was great from top to bottom. The camaraderie, the networking, the food was amazing, and the speakers that she brought in actually had powerful content to share. Everything from alternative business funding with Tamika Stafford, right? It was amazing, to angel investors, Padowitz, who talked about their theses and companies that they typically invest in. There were accountants there and strategists and planners, and it was just so amazing. And then Seneca herself talked about the power of crowdfunding and how you can basically use crowdfunding for anything. And it was a powerful lesson. So since the event, I have gone on to pursue and to win grant funding, which she talked a lot about that as well. And it was just so amazing. And I cannot wait to see what she has in store for us this year. So if you are in the Charlotte area or anywhere close to the Charlotte area, you do not want to miss Access Granted this year. Check it out. Follow her on LinkedIn. Look it up and be in the house, because, again, I cannot wait to see what's coming this year.
And guys, let me remind y'all, she came to my very first conference and got funded a month later. And she just came to my second conference. Okay. So again, I'm showing you guys social proof that is being done, right? So again, you can get started for just $497. The conference is going to be June 16th and 17th here in Houston, Texas, at the Marriott Marquis Hotel, which is in downtown Houston, right? Is valued at $1,997, right? Today it's only $497. And remember, you get the welcome package, you get the 3-course dining experience, you get to network with cocktails and courtyard with all of the investors and other business professionals. We've got 100 people who will be in attendance. You get 30-day access to my monetized LinkedIn course where I'm going to show you how to go after the funders, how to go after the C-level executives, right? How to navigate those conversations, and all access to the keynote breakout sessions with the actual funders on the day of the conference. Again, all of that valued at $1,997, and today it's only $497. And remember, guys, if you choose the PayPal option, you can do buy now, pay later. You can pay in four, right? Which means you pay it off in 2 months in bi-weekly installments, or you can schedule it out for 6 months or 12 months, right? If you need more time, that's absolutely understandable. Okay, you need more time to pay it off. Guess what? Get in the room. Don't let this moment pass you by. Don't try to figure it out by yourself, because that's the mistake that we make. We think we've got to have it all figured out. We've got to have it all together before we get in the room. Get in the room and figure it out as you go. And guess what? You're going to have a team of investors, a team of financial experts, a team of individuals to help you navigate the process so you don't have to do it by yourself. Do I have any questions? Do I have any questions? How many of you guys are going to be joining us at Access Granted this year? And it's funny, I've got more men who signed up this year than anything, which is not strange because at my last conference, I had 65% men and 35% women. And it looks like the men are going to outpace the women again this year, which is not a bad problem to have. I'm so excited to see so many Black men showing up and investing in their businesses. And Black women, again, we do that with our eyes closed, right? We are still the most educated demographic and the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the United States. So we do that with our eyes closed. This is where you want to invest. If you're trying to access funding for your business and you don't know how to do that, you need to get in the room with the actual funders, and they will be at Access Granted. That's exactly why I entitled it Access Granted, because I'm granting you access to the actual individuals who have the resources you need to grow and scale your business. Do I have any questions? I'm ready for your questions. Fire away. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat right now. I want to make sure that I answer as many questions as I possibly can because we 1 minute over, but I want to make sure that I stay for about another 5 minutes to get any questions answered for you. Let me know what questions you have, guys. What questions do you have for me? I'm listening. And guys, don't be, afraid. No question is the wrong question. If you're thinking it's somebody else, trust me, has thought it before and probably has asked me before. So I don't mind. Any questions? Any questions before we go? I'm listening, guys. I'm waiting. Okay. Miss Foster says she has a beverage business that I would like to scale. Okay. I mean, the beverage business is a big business, right? I just showed you a young lady who owns a vodka company out of Charlotte, North Carolina. She was funded a month after my conference. Yeah, she was funded a month after my conference. So I would say definitely, and these are the actual funders. These are the actual investors. So I would say you definitely want to get in that room. Yeah, it can be across the spectrum. So it's not like we only fund a certain type of business. Now there are certain businesses that would be hard to fund. So say like if you were a hairstylist, unless you own any like products. So I always tell people like if you're a hairstylist, you can only do one head at a time. So that business is not really scalable. But if you have products that you offer, so maybe you do hair, but you have a shampoo line, you have a conditioner, you have a detangler, you have a body butter and oil and stuff. If you have products that go along with that service, that's scalable because guess what? You can be selling those products while you sleep. They can be on autopilot, right, on your website. So yeah, that's a scalable business. Think about it. Think about like all of these what do you call them, power drinks, energy drinks and things like that. That's big business. So that is big business. So yes, that's absolutely something that is scalable and investors could invest in. Also, is there mentorship as well? Absolutely. I mean, that comes along with it because again, most of you, if you came out of neighborhoods I grew up in, right? There was nobody to help us navigate these spaces. There was no one to help us understand how to grow our businesses, how to scale our businesses, right? What type of funding that was most appropriate for our business. So that mentorship is understood. Absolutely. Not only that, but Ms. Foster, I'm creating a membership, right? Where I'm going to be delivering information to you guys probably on a bi-weekly and monthly basis about funding, right? Showing you where the grants are, what type of funding options, all of those things that are available. So that's coming down the pipeline as well. Thank you, Ms. Lightfoot. Thank you so much. Any other questions? But I would say if you're interested in getting in the conference, we're already in the fourth week. So we've got, we're less than 4 weeks away. So I would say this is the time you want to go ahead and buy your ticket. Because tickets are going fast. And like I said, most of them are men are taking the lion's share of those tickets. And probably because there's, 6 investors who are men on the ticket, right? And only 3 women. So yes, any more questions that I can answer for you guys? Any more questions? All right, let me put the link in here for you. Now, Ms. Foster, do you want to do like a buy now, pay later plan, or do you want just the link for the ticket sales? Let me just I'll just put the link for the tickets. / tickets. Oh, are they investing in oil and gas? Oh, yeah. I mean, investors are never going to stop investing in oil and gas because it's a natural resource, and it's a limited resource. Uh-oh. All right, Miss Foster. I just put the link in there for the tickets in the chat. And so if you click on the tickets, scroll all the way to the bottom, right? There's 3 different options. Just choose the first option, the $497. That's the one that I'm marketing today. Okay, let me put the buy now, pay later plan in there for you. Hold on one second. One second. I'm going to put the buy now, pay later in there for you. All righty. Buy now, pay later. All right, so I just put the buy now, pay later in there as well. But yeah, it's like, but to answer your question, investors are always looking at investing in oil and gas. That's always, and plus we're in Texas, right? Texas has built its wealth off of oil and gas. So that's why the OTC conference is here every year, for that very reason, because we are known for oil and gas. And that's where I started my business in corporate. Most of my book of business was oil and gas. Okay. So yeah, and then again, Miss Foster, I put the buy now, pay later option in there. So just go ahead and click that. And like I said, if you qualify for PayPal, the buy now, pay later option, you can always get into the conference and then pay later. It's just that easy. Just that easy. And let me know if you guys enjoyed this information. Let me know if it was worth it. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you got some value out of that, this presentation. Let me know in those comments, because I want to make sure that I'm delivering the best value to you guys so you can navigate this whole funding space with ease. Because remember, we serve a God that says, beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, right? Prosperity means having more than enough. And that's across the board, right? Having more than enough time, having more than enough resources, having more than enough money, So having a more than enough funding in your business is God's business, right? He's all about the business of making sure we have an abundant life. I truly believe that. Anything else? Any other questions before we go? Any other questions before we go? Any other questions before we go, guys? I want to make sure I get all your questions answered. Any other questions? Y'all good? All right, guys, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna go ahead and release you guys. If you have any more questions, if you think of something later, like, oh gosh, I forgot to ask this, just DM me, right? Just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm the easiest person to find when it comes to social media in the virtual space, right? I'm very easy to find. So I would say the best place to send me a message is DM me on LinkedIn. That's probably where I spend 90% of my time when it comes to social media, because that is my best platform. That's my most lucrative platform. So I spend the time where I make the most money. Okay. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We only ran 8 minutes over, so we did pretty good. And listen, if you know anybody else who needs to be a part of this conversation and needs to be a part of Access Granted, needs to be there, needs funding, or just needs to know more information about, how to access funding and where they're, where the roadblocks are, send them to this, let them know about this webinar. I'm going to be doing them Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the next 2 weeks. Okay. All right, guys. Have a wonderful weekend and all the best with you and your businesses. Let's go get this money. See you later.